One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Mark Lanehart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Mark's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Mark's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. I'm Mark Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays here on the Intuitive Prospector page, where every Monday morning you can get on the page and join the almost 30,000 spiritual prospectors in search of their own spiritual transformations, their own spiritual healing, and of course your own spiritual gold. That's what I like to do. I like to help people explore, discover, dream, live, relive, especially after trauma and tragedy. And thank you for tuning in for today's show. Going to be sharing something that came up in my meditation this morning, and it's really about what people are teaching me, what I'm seeing in the world, what's going on. I hope that wherever you're at in this world, that you're staying safe, you're staying healthy, you're staying properly informed, and that you're following your intuition, following your gut on what to do in all of these different scenarios that we find ourselves in. You can find me every Monday morning here on the Intuitive Prospector page for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, my 30-minute inspirational show for encouragement, positivity, motivation, just thinking outside the box. And then at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can tune into the Healing Cafe, where I come back on the Intuitive Prospector page. This show loads over to my YouTube channel, so if you want to get on my YouTube channel, I'll put the link right in the comment section. Hopefully it'll let me do some comments. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It always kind of has a mind of its own. Let's see here. There we go. So good morning to you. I see some people tuning in. I hope that you're doing well. Let's grab our coffee. Let's grab our tea, because this would not be Metaphysical Mocha Mondays without a nice mocha. I'm drinking a vanilla latte with hemp milk. Getting pretty good at making my latte. So cheers to you. I have to move my AC unit back. Let me try that again. Those are my chimes that I talk about getting into the magic of the moment. And it's been so hot here in Seattle, Washington, the Pacific Northwest where I've been, that I've got an AC unit set up. So let me try that one more time. Take a nice deep breath with me. Let's move into the magic of the moment. There you go. Doesn't hit my AC unit. So this morning I was going to talk about, if nothing else, some people just teach you how not to be. And that's something that I've really been observing and really watching. I've been watching colleagues, I've been watching friends, I've been watching family. And I have to say, it's just been quite eye-opening to me, anyway. I don't know where you're at in your journey, to just see how much division and meanness there is. I did a post last week where I was just trying to share out, because I have, resources at the local level for what I do. I'm a CPR first aid instructor. I teach basic life support here in Seattle. I work for the federal government in healthcare inspections, and just trying to inform people, getting away from the news and what you see here on social media, and really trying to inform people that, that second wave that they've been anticipating of COVID was coming. And I don't even know if the first wave has actually dissipated, to be honest with you. And that this COVID-19, this virus, this pandemic is going to be with us, and to prepare yourself, because it's coming again. And, just some of the pushback and just some of the information that I share as an inspirer, as just kind of informing people. And, it's always certain people from a certain area in Washington State that want to always, come out and troll or bully or post negative comments, saying, that's fake news, that's not true, that's not what certain, leaders are saying. And it's just eye-opening to see how much division and meanness there is in this day and age. And that's why I do these shows, guys. I come on to bring positivity, to bring light, to bring encouragement, to bring healing into our world as a light worker, as a tutor, as a teacher, as a mentor, as a spiritualist. And, one of the things that I've really learned, along the way of the spiritual pathway, it's, one of the most toxic things that I've done in my journey so far is to ignore the bad in someone because I want to keep them in my life. And it really comes down into this day and age. I was talking with a good friend of mine yesterday, and we were talking about how people have really moved past, we've always had political divide here, in the United States, but I've really seen it where people have moved past politics and really into being morally compromised. Right versus wrong, good versus bad, good versus evil, rich versus poor, people saying things and supporting an ideology that really goes against human nature, and something that I talk about all the time as a spiritualist about the golden rule, paying it forward, treat others as you like to be treated. And it really comes back to what Maya Angelou said: when people show you who they are in this day and age, believe them. I'm realizing that Facebook is really more of a good app to show me people's behaviors and remarks, some of them racist, some of them justifying supporting racism, and also supporting people that support racism. So for me, if nothing else, today's message is some people just teach you how not to be. And I hope that you're observing, I hope that you're watching very carefully, and that you're surrounding yourself with people that bring positivity into your life, bring good messages into your life. The last year I've really had to work hard, unfortunately, to let go of some relationships in my life over the course of my journey that were very negative, that were very toxic. Some were very narcissistic. A lot were, I found that people only want to hear the words coming out of your mouth if it fits their agenda. And that's not living an authentic path, guys. You can find your own journey, and you can find your own way and be authentic. And if people don't show up to support your life, then they're not meant to be there, guys. I always say never hide the bad side to make someone stay. We all have a bad side. You can't have the good without the bad. You can't have the night without the day. You can't have the sun without the moon. But it's working through your bad stuff and working to improve who you are as a person to be more authentic. Something I've worked on very hard this last year. But never hide your bad stuff to make someone stay. Show your bad side and see who can stay and help you to become a better person. I've had some amazing friends and very personal, close colleagues. You know who you are, who've helped me over the last year, from hypnotherapy to counseling to biofeedback, just to get into that healing modality of letting some toxic relationships go. So today's advice, if anything else, people can show you how you don't want to be. And if you find that one of the most toxic things you've done in your life is to ignore the bad in someone just because you want to keep them in your life, you may want to reevaluate and rethink that, because that is it's detrimental to your own journey, to your own healing, and to finding your own authentic path. I always remind people, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and sometimes you got to do that. So I just wanted to come on and just say, happy summer to you. We are Mercury retrograde. Happy Pride to the Pride community out there. That was this weekend. I know that we're not really celebrating a lot of the things that we normally do because of COVID-19, but one of the things that I can give you a perspective on, and the art of spiritualism, guys, is the ability to change your perspective from time to time, knowing that we sit at a round table of life and we all have different perspectives, but we can learn to see different perspectives and respect that. But what we've moved past is we've politicized everything, from even wearing a mask. I mean, a mask, I don't know a doctor or nurse that's not wearing a mask. In a normal health crisis, as a former retired firefighter, first responder, EMT, it's protecting not only yourself, but it's protecting others so you're not spreading it. And that's even been politicized. You can't take my free rights away. You can't, it's amazing to me. It's a health crisis. And one of the things I've always been taught, I've been in healthcare and emergency medicine for over 25 years, guys. And I do this, my spiritual work now, but I also still have a daytime job where I work in healthcare inspections and teach basic life support. We always talk and teach about planning and prevention. Planning and prevention. It's always been the staples of what we do. We didn't plan for it. We planned for this, but we didn't prevent it. And there's things that we could have done that we can go back at, after history reflects on this, and we can look and do, damage reports of what didn't take place. But the danger of what we find is, and here's the analogy I'll give you. Whether I served in the Coast Guard, the fire service, healthcare, trauma, war, 9/11, when you have an incident that's taking place in society, and if I'm a firefighter and I'm responding to a 10-alarm fire, which means this fire is big, it's growing, it's getting out of control, 10 different fire departments are responding to this fire. And we set up what's called an incident command system. And a command system, or command and control, is something that you do to communicate, delegate, coordinate, so that you can put the fire out. And that means that all 10 different fire departments work together under a command and control system. And this is the first time I've seen, as a constitutionalist, the role of federal government is to protect the people of the United States. That's the number one goal. That's the job of the president. That's the job of the federal government. That's the job of Congress. That's the job of Senate, the House. And what I'm seeing is 50 different states in a 50-alarm fire responding different ways. And until we start to have some sort of unified command and control system at the federal level, at the highest levels, COVID's going to be with us for a long time, guys, well into 2021. Even if there's a vaccine that's found, which that is an assumption at this point, that there will be a vaccine, because if we find a vaccine, what if COVID changes? What if it mutates? What if it transfers to something different? So it's just interesting to see that we can't come together on a health crisis when other countries around the world are actually beating this virus, and now not even allowing the United States to go to other countries because we just can't get our stuff together. And it makes me sad, because I think we're better than that. I think that as human beings, as Homo sapiens, which the word Homo sapiens indicates wise, I feel that we're bigger than this. And you're always going to have a few bad apples in the mix. That's just the way human nature works. But those bad apples don't have to make it bad for the rest of us. And I'm encouraging you today to find the good in people, see a different perspective, and be respectful. Learn the difference between debating somebody and arguing with somebody. Debating is allowing somebody to speak and also then allowing you to speak. Arguing is just two people yelling at each other, and nothing's going to get done, nothing's going to get hurt. So, when somebody's yelling at you or somebody's yelling at me, I get attacked all the time on social media. I'm sure there might be comments in here, but I have a team behind the scenes. So, good morning to my team that regulates and mandates and monitors the as moderators of the page, the comments or the bullying or the trolls that love to come in. I hope that we can rise above. I hope that we can come together, which I talked about at the very beginning of this year in 2020 with my psychic predictions about the great coming together. Sustainability, self-mastery, and the great coming together. Those are the three things I talked about in my vision for 2020. And I believe that we can. My hope and my future of what I see is a great coming together and moving past some of these bitter times that we find ourselves in. But at the same time, learn from this situation, because we're 5 months into this. A lot of quarantine going on. We're going to probably go back to some quarantine. I know that's probably what you don't want to hear, but because of the data, follow the data. I always say, there's even arguments about what data to follow. I follow a bunch of different resources. I stay away from cable news because cable news is not FCC regulated, so they can pretty much do whatever they want, say whatever they want. I stay to my local news, I stay to my local resources, and follow that to be an informed person to make an informed decision without just following blindly of what a cable news channel may tell you, or propaganda. It's very dangerous at this point. But at the same time, observe what people are doing. Observe what I'm doing. Go to my page and watch my comments. Watch what I post. I get attacked all the times, and I really try to take the higher road if I can. The old saying, when they go low, we go high. But sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand, guys. When it comes to being morally compromised or being morally losing your compass and being on the wrong side of history, at some point you're going to have to draw a line in the sand and stand up for what is right. Just on my personal page, it says we can have many different viewpoints and we can agree to disagree, but the one thing we're not going to have agreement on is racism, any kind of systemic racism, or if you support moral bad behavior. It just means that you don't have a seat at my table anymore. Just because we're not friends doesn't mean we're enemies. It's just you don't get to participate in my life anymore. And that also includes some people that I thought were friends, some people that I thought were spiritual light workers who, I'm seeing what they do and what they say, and even some family members, unfortunately. But what I've learned through all of this, and this is a great learning experience for what we're going through in history, if nothing else, some people teach you how not to be. And I hope that you'll take something from that and you'll learn from that. Because it's just, again, you don't want to be on the wrong side of history when this all comes down and history reflects and looks back of what we're going through right now, which is this great divide. But at the same time, I see a great coming together. So I hope that you're staying safe. I hope that you're staying healthy. I hope that you're staying properly informed and that you're doing your due diligence to help us get past this pandemic. Because the only way, guys, that we're going to get past this pandemic is even if we find a vaccine, great, or it just runs its course with herd immunity, but we can't guarantee that with COVID-19. But all 50 states start responding like an alarm, a 50 alarm of fire, so all 50 states can work together to put this fire out. And it just, it comes back to leadership matters, words matter. The old saying goes, "A fish rots from the head down." That's very true. And what is measured can be managed. And what we're measuring and what we're seeing is just data that tells us one story, but people want to follow different, and it just makes me sad. So I hope that you guys are finding positivity on your Monday morning, that you can set the tone for the week ahead. That's what my shows are about. It's about setting positivity, encouragement, motivation, getting out there and having a mind focus, because your focus determines your reality, of doing good out there and making that change and being part of the great awakening that we're seeing, being part of the greatest civil rights movement in the history of our planet. All 50 states have come together in that aspect, and including 18 plus nations around the world that are standing up to injustices. When I say injustices, I mean standing up for what is right and also pointing out what is wrong. And of course, when you say something, you point out something's wrong, it's your opinion, and somebody's going to say, oh, that's conspiracy theory. You may want to look up what the word conspiracy theory means and where it came from. I like to use the words conjecture or propaganda. Make sure that you're not getting caught up in conjecture and propaganda for an agenda or for an ideology. We see a lot of that in today's social media, even here on Facebook, taking some heat for the political ads that they run. So it's going to be an interesting show, guys. We're in July, or we're about to hit July. We're at the end of June. We were joking the other day because we've had all these things. Last year Amazon was on fire, and then Kobe Bryant died in that horrific helicopter crash, and then COVID hit, and COVID brought the health crisis, which brought the financial crisis, which now has brought the social unrest, and then everything that happened with Mr. Floyd and the police brutality and the bringing awareness to not only racism that still exists in the United States. It's been an open wound for hundreds of years, ever since the Civil War ended, but also systemic racism, and showing the different pathways of how people are treated more. They have more opportunity than other people. Saying that all lives matter. Yeah, we know that, but at this point in history, we need to say Black Lives Matter. And if you don't know the difference of that, you may want to get educated. And I always tell people, don't belittle me. Educate me, and let's find common ground to learn from one another and teach one another. But at this point in history, Black lives do matter, because the Black life community needs the other people, us white people, to stand up for what an injustice is. Other people in history that have stood up with injustices, whether you're religious or not religious: Moses, Jesus, Gandhi, Buddha, Muhammad, Dr. King, JFK. The list can go on and on throughout history about standing up to injustice. But at the same time, we're also seeing, when people show you who they are, believe them. So I thought I'd just come on, because in today's meditation, when I was sitting there thinking about what I was actually going to talk about something different. I'll talk about that maybe next week, which is a fun topic. But it just was like, some people just teach you how you don't want to be in life. And learn from that. And again, you don't have to be friends with them on social media. You probably wouldn't hang out with them in life anyway. I say that even about some, certain family members in my family. Unfortunately, if they weren't my family, I probably wouldn't hang out with them anyway. So really be mindful, really be picky about who you talk to, who you share your ideas with, who you give your energy away to, and what energy comes at you, because that's really important moving forward, especially in the next few months. We had the COVID, now we're in the racial injustices and what we're seeing, and then we had murder hornets, and now we've got this storm that they've called Godzilla, which we were joking about back in May, that Godzilla was going to show up because he was pissed off with everything that's going on, and now we have this dust storm that they've named Godzilla coming up from Africa that's blowing up, and it's just like, okay, what else is coming? What's coming in July that we need to prepare for? Are the aliens going to show up? Is there going to be some sort of great war that breaks out, or some sort of revolution? Or it's just like, what is the month going to bring? And especially as we get close to the election, guys, watch the election. I'm telling you, here in the United States, there's a lot of pieces. If you're not watching the big picture, get out of the politics, watch the big picture. There's a lot of things, from the judicial system to the IGs, inspector generals. There's a lot of pieces that are being moved into place for a bigger chess game here, and I'm sure people would argue with me on that and attack me for that. But as an observer, I watch both sides of the political spectrum as a constitutionalist, and how many times the Constitution has been violated to date, which concerns me, because again, when people don't care, or people don't show up, or people don't participate, vote for whoever you want, that's important. But when people don't participate, like Thomas Jefferson talked about, that's when democracy fades away and something else replaces it. So I hope that you enjoy your freedoms. I hope that you enjoy the life that you have, because if you don't, this is all going to change as we move closer to the election. So, when people show you who they are, believe them. Michelangelo. talked about that. But you know the one thing we can agree upon, guys? Well, mostly. Most of us can agree upon. I'd say there's probably about 80% of you out there that we can agree on a good cup of coffee. That we can sit down outside of social media. I bet you a lot of you out there that are watching today or connecting with the show today, I bet you a lot of us could sit down at a table over a cup of coffee or over a cup of tea or over a glass of wine and really just philosophize and talk about how many things we have in common versus how many things that we don't have in common. And you know, the internet, social media, the news cycle is driving division. And my vision is that we're going to move past this and that we're going to find a way to come together and to evolve, in a sense. Evolve in what we're doing and how we're treating our planet, how we treat each other, what we do in society. One of the things that was interesting to me here in Seattle is they just renamed the hockey arena. It's the WNBA and the new hockey team that's coming to Seattle. It used to be called the Key Arena. So it was named after a bank, right? Corporation. So Amazon purchased the rights to actually name it whatever they wanted to, and they actually called it the Climate Pledge Arena. And it's going to be the first arena in the United States that has zero carbon emissions. It's going to leave a very low footprint. And they're naming the arena after a mission, Climate Pledge Arena, to have a pledge to our climate, to climate change, to taking care of our planet. So to me, you know, and people are going to get caught up in the debate that Amazon bought and somebody said that to me at work the other day, oh, well, Amazon bought the rights. Well, that's fine, but they could have named it Amazon Arena, but they didn't. They chose to name it the Climate Pledge Arena. And it's the first time that I know of, and I may be wrong, I mean, feel free to let me know, that arena's been named after a mission statement, not a corporation. And these are the changes we're going to start to see, guys. These are the transformations that are, you know, with the statues coming down. I believe that history should be in a museum, just like I went to the Holocaust Museum in D.C., but I believe that statues that represent a false narrative or a false past should be taken down and put into a museum to remember the history so we can know where we're going forward. Because if we don't remember our history, then it's really hard to determine your future and where you're going. But there's a debate on that. Mississippi just voted to end the Confederate flag, to take the Confederate symbol off their flag, which it should have been done years ago. The Confederate flag in NASCAR. You know, I understand people's free rights, but at the same time, when somebody sees a Nazi flag, you know, if a Jew sees a flag that's Nazi representation, that's very equivalent to what a black person sees of the Confederate flag. And if you don't know your history, I'd say be a student of history, learn your history, learn what the Jim Crow era was, learn what happened after the Civil War. Jim Crow started to erect, you know, the Jim Crow era after the Civil War. 100 years past that, 50 to 100 years, they started to erect these statues to tell a history that wasn't true. And, you know, get educated, guys. Get learned out there. Get awoke, whatever you want to call it. I'm just letting you know today that, you know, I'm learning from people how I don't want to be. I'm learning from people that are teaching me how not to be. I want to move forward with my platform. Again, if you support racism, if you support bullying or trolling, or you can't, you can't get with the times, then don't follow me, don't friend request me, don't be a part of my path, because I'm blazing trail forward. And you know, the old saying goes, if you don't want to move forward, then you get left behind. If you can't keep up with the waves of change, you'll find yourself underneath them. So, but I bet you we could all sit down over a cup of coffee. We can sit down over a cup of tea or a glass of wine and really find common ground and the good in people. And that's what I'm going to challenge you for today. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to give you a crystal for the week, and everything is improv today. Again, I'm just going to go right to my numerology deck. The number for today is financial discipline, especially during these times. Financial discipline is your message. It's the 4. And the 8, 4 is the year that we're in. 2 plus 2 is 4, so we're in the year in the 4. The 8 is manifestation, but it's also the infinity. So it's about financial discipline, especially in the next couple months, guys. I'm telling you, as we get closer to this election in the United States, something in me just tells me something's going to happen, something's off. Whether you want to acknowledge that or not, I can tell you as the Psychic of the Year for Best American Psychics that everything that I've predicted so far has happened. And I'm telling you, as we get closer to this election, prepare for an October surprise and prepare for some things to really come to the surface with everything that we're seeing. So this is a good time to have financial discipline. As far as your crystal for the week, and we'll get into the Healing Cafe. Yep, I'm 2 minutes over. The Sunstone. The sunstone is a great yellow, orange, red, brown stone. It's easily obtained in specialty shops, but it's a joyful, light, inspiring stone. And who doesn't want a joyful, light lifting, inspiring stone? I know that I do. It's called the sunstone. And it also heightens your intuition. So that's your crystal for the week, is the sunstone. And of course, the animal totem spirit for this week, nature, how you interact with nature, the symbiotic relationship for all of us in life, is the python. And the python teaches us, so if you see a snake or a python, you'll soon embark on an educational process where you'll be required to assimilate a lot of knowledge very quickly. And it's kind of going to what I was talking about. Everything I've seen from numerology, everything I've seen from astrology, everything that I'm feeling with my intuition. So if you see the python, educate yourself. And I always remind people, don't belittle somebody. Educate them. Find common ground and learn the difference between a debate and argument. I see a lot of arguing going on social media. I see a lot of arguing going on in news. And I'd like to see people start to have an educated debate so we can start making changes and we can do it together without full division. Because again, guys, a country divided does not stand, as Abraham Lincoln reminds us. And I hope that you'll find the good in people, but also that you'll learn from people. Because if nothing else, some people just teach you how not to be. So we're going to get ready for the Healing Cafe. I hope that you're, again, staying safe and staying properly informed and educated for the changing times that we find ourselves in. I'll be back here in about 30 seconds, so get your questions ready. We'll do an interaction with the Healing Cafe, and it's been a pleasure to talk with you this morning. And again, much love to you and your families and what you're doing out there in life. I always remind people to be kind, caring, and compassionate in whatever you do, even when people are attacking you guys. And I can tell you from an expert standpoint of being attacked, because it happens all the time when I post something inspiring. It's just amazing. But you can still smile at the face of a bully. Stand up to a bully, smile in the face of a bully, get educated, and maybe just show them what they're doing and that it's not right. But you can do that by being kind, caring, compassionate, knowing that your words matter and also your actions matter. So until our next soul adventure together, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. I'll see you next Monday for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays here on the Intuitive Prospector page. If you want to learn more about the work I'm doing, you can go to marklanehart.com or internet search the Intuitive Prospector, and that'll take you to my website that has all my links, including my latest article about the pathways to healing and some healing modalities for your own astrology sign. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to head over to the Healing Cafe. I hope that you'll join me over on the other side. Have a great day, everybody. Namaste.